Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the West Ham Network. Of course, I'm Anton, and we're here to talk about the big Premier League game this weekend. West Ham coming off the back of a fantastic victory at home against Freiburg, and we needed that victory after the terrible loss to Fulham last week. Wolves themselves come off a draw against Nottingham Forest last time out, but we've got a good friend of the channel, Dave from Talking Wolves. Dave, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Thanks for having me back on.
No worries, mate. No worries at all. I was going to say it's the hat trick ball, but it's not. I think you've been on several more times than that.
Yeah,
So
I'd say it's a double hat trick maybe now. I think possibly.
absolutely. Listen, let's call this the Dawson derby. I'm going to get straight into it, and we've got so much to talk through. We're going to be short and sweet. But the one player I want to talk to you, and I've not had a chance to talk to you about it since he's made the move across to you lot in Molyneux, Craig Dawson, mate. Tell me what your thoughts are. I mean, when you signed him and how you feel about him now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when we signed him, I think he's one of those names with him being an English player, never really played top end of the Premier League. I think he's one of those players you go, okay. But I think when Wolves fans saw the reactions from West Ham fans, they were thinking, hold on, I think we've got a decent player here. And he certainly helped shore up our defence towards the end of last season. Obviously, when he signed, Wolves were in a terrible position. And he was a really big part of why we stayed in the Premier League ultimately last season. And again, I think he's a big part. He's always one of the first names in everybody's 11s for each weekend. I think West Ham fans bigged him up quite a lot going up for set pieces and corners. So we were hoping for maybe one or two more goals. But in terms of how that he's added experience and quality to our defence, he's been a brilliant signing. And hopefully, he'll get a good reception on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get my head around, my expectations were so low, but what he gave the club was so high. I mean, he's going down in history with West Ham fans as one of the craziest and most underwhelming signings with over expectations of what he delivered for West Ham.
Yeah.
He did bang in goals. If you look at his Premier League history with West Ham, I think he got 5 goals, but it wasn't just in Premier League that he did it. He did it in all competitions, and in particular in Europe. And to be honest with you, Dave, we've not necessarily recovered since he's left. Yeah. If I'm being really honest with you, we've never found that fit to take on his place, because there is an element of no nonsense around him. And I think if you find that relevant partner alongside a Craig Dawson, albeit doesn't matter really what his age is just now, I think he's 33, but if you could find that kind of other defender that's calm, collected, who can deal with anything that does get through Craig Dawson, then it's a perfect match made in heaven. But he'll get highly respected, mate. He'll get absolutely, he'll get really well applauded. And again, we all know it's all due to family reasons. He wanted to be closer to his family, and we respected that. But let's get on to the boss, Gary O'Neill. What's going on there, and how are Wolves fans taking to him, mate?
Yeah, he's doing all right at the moment. I think going back to the summer when there was a crazy situation going on at Wolves, and Lopetegui left pretty much on the eve of the brand new season, and Gary O'Neill came in, and again everyone was like, is this the best that we can find? I think a lot of Wolves fans felt it was an underwhelming appointment. But he was given a very difficult job. You've just taken on a team which morale is all over the place. You've got players that don't necessarily want to be there. So it was a big job for Gary O'Neill, but he's done okay. He's picked up some brilliant wins. We've already beaten Man City and Tottenham at home. I think we're 6 unbeaten at home. So he's made Molyneux a really difficult place to go. And, in that 6 games, includes Newcastle, includes Villa, includes, like I said, City and Spurs. So he's got us playing some really good football at home. Away, it's been a little bit more difficult. We've lost out to Crystal Palace. We've lost out or dropped points against Luton. We lost to Sheffield United. So away from home, it's not been the same story. And I can't really still put my finger on why that's happening. I don't know if Wolves just start off a little bit too slow away from home. I don't know, but that's one thing that he's got to improve on. But I'm happy with where Wolves are in the league at the moment. I think we should probably still need to be getting a couple of more points on the board, but I certainly don't think Lopetegui would have had us in a much better position than what we're in right now. So I think Gary O'Neill's doing a fine job so far.
Well, talk to me then, because there's a big kind of battle between West Ham fans about style of play and getting results over the line. Now, when you look at the Premier League table, Wolves currently sit 13th with 19 points. West Ham sit 9th with 24 points. What style of football is Gary O'Neill bringing to Molyneux onto the Premier League with Wolves? And are you happy with what's going on, or when you look at, as an outsider looking in at West Ham, do you look at that situation with West Ham with winning the Europa Conference League and think, oh, I'd like that to be where we are? I mean, because listen, we've been West Ham fans for such a long time of not winning anything. So anyone that won something, we looked at them and just, there was an element of going, oh, we'd like to be there. But for the first time in my lifetime, I've seen West Ham play European football for 3 consecutive seasons, mate. So I've given you like 3 or 4 questions in one go there. Gary O'Neill in the Premier League, what style of play and what's your thoughts on West Ham?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of his style of play, I mean, he had to adjust and adapt quite quickly. And I think that's what you would, he's still a very young and inexperienced head coach. So I think he's still learning every day, really, as a lot of us are in life. But he started off with a 4-2-3-1, very quickly found out, despite us playing some decent football, that it wasn't working. Switched to a back 5 against Manchester City. And although we didn't dominate the game, I don't think you would ever expect to against City. The job was bang on. It was perfect. And we beat them 2-1, and he stuck with that system ever since. So it's pretty much a sort of 5-2-3 or 3-4-3 formation. Some games it's great. We free flowing attacking football. I think that's the one positive of Gary O'Neill. He's got us scoring goals. That was a huge problem towards the end of Nuno's time at the club, and Bruno Lage and Lopetegui. He just didn't score enough goals. So Gary O'Neill's got us firing again, which is great. We've only failed to score in the opening game of the season. We've scored in every game since, including cup games. So that's a big bonus, but it's just got to try and find that balance of away from home. Can he find that right style of play to actually start competing a little bit more? In regards to West Ham, obviously, I think it's hard. I know someone asked me this question the other day as well, but I think outside the top 6, I don't think many football fans will be 100% satisfied with their style of play. I think, unfortunately, if the club's outside the top 6 or top 7 now, I think managers do have to sometimes play quite boring, low block football to get results and get points. And that's just the reality of it, unfortunately. Unless you're spending hundreds of millions every transfer window to get the best players in Europe, it's not going to happen. So I think, of course, you do want to try and see your team play entertaining football, and Wolves have seen that at times. But at times we have seen, like this week, for argument's sake, we beat Burnley and then drew to Forest. We didn't lose a game, but Wolves fans came away from both games disappointed with how we played. So I think there is still, obviously, West Ham as well, after winning the European trophy, you want to kick on. There's that level of expectation there now. And whether that means moving David Moyes on, I don't know. But it's, so far for Wolves, it's going okay. And I think for West Ham as well, you've got to look where you are in the league. Yeah. And you're still within touching distance of possibly pushing for European qualification again.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're talking about Gary O'Neill bringing goals to Wolves, and I'm just looking at the stats here. Hwang Hee-chan, 8 goals in 16 appearances, 2 assists. And Mateus Cunha as well, 16 appearances, 5 goals and 3 assists. What's he got going on with the forwards, and what's he just managed to do?
Again, it's a strange one because, all these players were at the club last year. Hwang, especially, has been here for 2 years. He came in when Bruno Lage was there and really struggled to get going. Like, he scored a couple of goals, but nothing out of this world. I mean, our top goal scorer last season in all competitions was Neves with 6. And like you said, Hwang's already got 8 goals just in the league. So, he's doing really well. Again, a lot of those goals have come at home. So we need to see him start putting the ball in the back of the net away. But I think Gary O'Neill's just giving them confidence. Say, look, if you make a mistake or miss a shot, just keep your head up and you go again. Whereas I think they used to beat themselves up quite a lot when they miss chances. Players are getting into the box now, which we didn't see enough of. Like central midfielders are running in late. Neto, who has been injured since end of October, still got the most assists in the Premier League, and that shows how well he started in the Premier League this season. But yeah, Hwang showing a lot more confidence. Cunha now has got a goal contribution in each of his last 5 games, so he's starting to kick on a little bit as well. And yeah, we are seeing Hwang and Cunha sort of strike up this sort of unexpected partnership, really, because yes, they're great players, but just didn't really expect him to get the numbers they've picked up so far.
Yeah, very decent, very decent. You're traveling to London Stadium on Sunday, so I mean, listen, I don't know how you view London Stadium as an away fan. How do you think the fans view it? How do you think the team will view coming to London Stadium? Because we've got such a good European record at the London Stadium. The Premier League record can so up and down. We can go 1-0 up and lose 3-1, or the game could end up 3-2, you name it. There's not really a fortress that we want it to be, but I'm intrigued to hear a point of view from an away fan.
Yeah, I remember when I think it was our first year back in the Premier League. I went and we had beaten you 1-0 there. I've not been since. I don't think our form's been great there over the last few years. But I'm going Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. I like it as like a stadium, like like an arena. I think it's great. But I suppose from an atmosphere point of view, it is very difficult to get things going from an atmosphere point of view. But like I said, I think the one thing that will work in West Ham's favour possibly is how poor Wolves have been away from home. It's typical. We played Forest last weekend after they're just being beaten by Fulham 5-0. Then we play you after just being beaten by Fulham 5-0.
5-0.
But yeah, I think it's slightly different in your case because obviously you've had that break with Europe. You've been able to sort of pick things up again, and obviously you picked up a win on Thursday night. So that I think David Moyes would have been happy with that and sort of got that 5-0 loss out your minds. But I think it'll be a tough game either way for Wolves, especially away from home. Difficult place.
And you've got a couple of players missing, is that right, for the game?
Yeah, so Neto's still out injured. I think he's the main one, really, off the top of my head. So Neto's the main one. Ryan Aït-Nouri was a doubt, but I think he'll be part of the team. He's been a big plus playing at left wing back for us. So I think he'll be part of the squad. But Neto's still a big player that's missing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, everyone, it's a short and sweet one for you tonight. So before we say goodbye to Dave, I'm just going to put it over to you and put the pressure on to you. What is your predictions for the game on Sunday, mate?
See, my heart is saying a 2-1 Wolves win. But my head is saying, and this is still quite optimistic, a 1-1 draw. I think I'll take a point now. I'll take a point on Sunday. Yeah,
there you go. Anyway, listen, everyone, if you don't already know, I've already said it. Dave from Talking Wolves. Go across, check out their content. Fantastic guys, as per usual. Dave, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Take it easy and all the best after Sunday.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
Take it easy. Cheers, mate. Buddy.